Peace, family. This is James from Pan Designs, and today I want to do a quick presentation, sort of like a PowerPoint, which will be our first kind of a PowerPoint presentation that we will be doing, which we'll be trying to rev this up here soon because we'll be getting a mic and trying to present this in the best way we can. So I upgraded on the webcam, and we'll be having a new mic coming in soon to help with the audio. But in the meantime, I wanted to go ahead and touch on this Black Panther movie from a perspective of history, to kind of like give a perspective for our people who don't actually know history. And with the new technology that they have out with being able to share our screens, so forth, that gives us an opportunity, or I think it's the perfect time for me to jump in because I'm not necessarily about making the information about myself, but I really want to kind of like be able to show, if I am going to be trying to be on here talking and teaching, I would rather be able to show and really just keep it about the information of what I've learned and trying to share with the Africans across the globe, that that's tuned in and trying to make sense of what's actually going on with us. So today I'm gonna do I had seen that Black Panther movie, and I want to, everybody's giving their take, and I know it's kind of late in the game, but I want to make sure that I covered all my bases as far as how I was going to present this and make sure that I do the best job possible for the family. So I don't want to make this too much about me, so I'm gonna actually go off of the screen here, and then we just gonna get right into this. I'm kind of, excuse me, because I'm looking down at my notes. I'm trying to make sure that I do this in the right fashion. So let me go ahead and get off of my screen. Maybe y'all can just listen to me talking as I'm setting this up here, and then I'll be sharing my screen here in a second. We're gonna get this show on the road. So you'll hear me narrating or whatever you would call in the background, moving forward. So okay, peace. Um, Let me go ahead and see if I can share my screen. Okay. Now, with this technology that they have, I think this will be a lot better for me personally moving forward. Because, like I said, I'm not necessarily into trying to promote myself. So, as it's more what I would like to say is more so about trying to teach and get everybody on the same page historically as far as like what's going on. Now, watching Black Panther is certain things that a person that's historically aware will catch that a person that's not historically aware may think it's just fiction, when it's actually documented history that has been told through a story that Europeans have already been well aware of ever since they've erased our memory during our 400 years of enslavement. So a lot of the things that we see that we think is fiction is actually documented history dealing with our people. So let me get off into it. I'm going to show this, um, and I'm just going to let this play so you guys can kind of get a quick breakdown of actually the story of Black Panther for those that actually hadn't really um, heard the story, read the comic books like myself. I haven't read any comic books on this, but I am familiar with the actual animated series that they had on BT, which I thought was fantastic. And I'm aware of, through doing research, I have a little bit more history since the movie came out, and it's really fascinating how much they pull from African history to make this. So what I want to say is that we should not give Stan Lee or whoever else is supposedly accredited with creating this particular um, cartoons or comic or brought to movie theatrics. So let me go ahead and let this play because I do not want this to be long because I know our attention span is not that long. So let me let this play and hopefully I don't have the sound too loud. So this is what this is the Black Panther Royal Family Tree is what this is. So this will give you a breakdown of how this actually came into fruition.
The royal family from the kingdom of Wakanda began long, long ago. The first to invoke the power of Bast, the Black Panther god, was Bashemba. He served
Oh, there they go.
to protect the great mound comprised of the rare and powerful metal vibranium. As the Black Panther, he began the royal lineage of the Wakandan people.
Let me see if I stop this. Will this?
Many kings of the growing nation of Wakanda followed in his footprints to rule as the Black Panther. During World War II, Azuri the Wise would protect Wakanda from an invasion by Hydra who sought their vibranium. With the Wakandan border secured, Azuri would join with Nanli to have two sons. The younger son, Yasan, who would have a son himself named T'Challa. The eldest son, T'Chaka, who would take over as ruler of Wakanda with his wife Nyami as his queen. Together, they would adopt a foreign child named Hunter and have a biological son named T'Challa. After the death of Nyami during childbirth, Chaka would have two additional biological children. The first Chakara was born with an unknown woman. Chakara, who would later ascend the ranks to general of the Wakandan army. T'Chaka would go on to marry Ramonda and together have a daughter named Shuri. The royal family includes important members of the royal court, Mbaza, advisor to Chaka, and Mbaza's two children, Kanata and Bitumba, as well as Zuri, T'Chaka's personal bodyguard and confidant. After the death of King T'Chaka, his son T'Challa ascended the royal throne. Surrounding the new king of Wakanda is his second in command, Wakabi, as well as the Dora Malazo, or in English, the Adored Ones. Together, Narima, Okoye, Nakia, Ayo, Aneka, and Tila serve as the king's personal guard. Though would-be usurpers like Eric Killmonger and Mbaku, T'Challa remains the rightful king of Wakanda. Long live the king.
Okay, so that's a quick breakdown of how Stan Lee broke down a family tree of the Black Panther, his royal lineage. So when you know, kind of like with that particular breakdown, I want to go ahead and go into the actual movie, and I want to go ahead and speed up to this particular part of what I really want to get to, which is the god of Wakanda, which is Bast. Okay, so let me show a quick clip of them mentioning Bast as their particular god of Wakanda. So this is when the father goes to meet the brother, and the brother's going to tell his brother, praise Bast. Now, see, for us who are historically unaware, Bast is an actual god in Kemet, which is actually Egypt, which we know of, which is known as Egypt today. So let me let this clip play so we can go ahead and break down who is Bast and the historical relevance it has to us as African people. So here you go.
Sondelandagama, let me see how you're holding up. You look strong. Glory to Basta and in good health. How's home?
So there, you hear him say, "Glory to Bast, I'm in good health." I'm not sure if y'all can see that particular, because of how I have this set up. I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but I'm sure that y'all can hear the audio of that particular clip. I wonder, should I stop this? Let me go back into this and see if I can show that again. Okay, yeah, maybe I need to show it from this perspective. So let me go back and I'm gonna show this from right here because I'm not sure if y'all seen the actual little clip. So let me go back when he goes and when he greets his brother. Okay.
Let me see how you're holding up. look strong. Glory to Basta. I'm in good health. How's home?
So as you can see, he says, glory to Bast, I'm in good health. Now, the reason why I want to show that particular clip is to show they're worshiping Bast. And then I want to show who is Bast and what's the relevancy of Bast to us as African people. So let me go back and share my screen again. Now, this is actually taken from Marvel, the Marvel website, Marvel database. That's what this is taken from. Now this says Bast. And this is the way they drew Bast right here. Let me see if I can pull that up. This is the actual drawing of Bast. Here's another image of Bast. It's an Egyptian or Kemetic or Nile Valley deity, and it goes, and you can see right here it says post and Bast, Bast, Hathor, Bastet. This is different ways you can spell the name of Bast or Bastet. Bastet represents the female deity. So I guess I should read the history of this. I may butcher some of the wording because I'm not familiar with everything on here, but please bear with me. It says the necropolis, the Wakandan city of the dead, where Black Panther goes to die, and where you will rule as king of the dead. Every Panther that has ever lived, their strength and their knowledge is now yours. Every battle fought, every battle won, unbeaten, unbroken, a crown of the unconquered, a king of kings, my champion, my Black Panther. Bast. Origins. Now watch this, family. Origins is the eldest of the Anid. Now I got this tab up here already ready to go, but it says the child of Ra himself. Who is Ra? You see what I'm saying? We have to understand and know what's going on with our history to understand what's being put off into actual movies that they're using today that we're thinking is fiction, but because we have a historical broken link, which is why they erased our history within the 400 years of our enslavement. This is the type of stuff that they can slip into a movie that we won't even recognize because we're historically illiterate as far as our own history. Now, it says Habrian age. As early as 10,000 BC, Bast was worshipped as a god, granted power to worship worshipers and descendants. The children of Bast dwelled in the mountaintop city Bastet, which is the female goddess. See, all of these have links. So what I also want y'all to do is y'all can go back, and maybe I may need to click the link. I will put all of these particular links so y'all can go back and study this, because what this has, every time that I put the mouse over the cursor over the particular links, you will see that I can right click and then open these up, and then I can study even further. What I'm actually showing you is how to study so that you can find out information and find out actually where stuff comes from. Now, I don't want to go too deep off into this because you would think that this is just a cartoon. This is actually a real goddess. I'm going to go into a Wikipedia link to try to get off of this so you won't think that this is just about cartoon. But I want you to notice over here to the right that they have, where you see Bast right here, which is B-A-S-T, you will see the gallery, which I just showed you, which is the imagery that they have, different images of the Bast character off in the Marvel comics. But I want you to purely understand that this is not fiction. This is actual history that he was able to use because he's aware of the history to create Black Panther. So what I'm saying is the origins of the deity gives him the ability to create the rest of the story. So the origins of the history of Bastet gives him the ability to create the Black Panther story. So what I'm saying is that Stanley or whoever his partner, him and his partner, whatever they created, they did not create this. Africans created this, and they just created a cartoon, a fictional kind of way of playing off of the history to create something that they're going to actually, as we see, make billions of dollars off of, which is actual African history. So, as you can see, the real name right here is up in the second column, up on the gallery here. Real name is Bast, but you have the female counterpart, which is Basset. It says aliases, Bast Hathor, and then it says Ambuset, and then they have another name. They have a cat god, cat goddess, lady of the east, panther god, panther goddess. Why do they keep doing the counterpart to each one of these? If they say cat god, they say cat goddess. They say cat panther, they say panther god, they say panther goddess. Because in Kemet, you always have to have a counterpart to produce life. So in the Abrahamic tradition, which is Hebrew, Christianity, and Islam, you always have a male dominant culture, whereas in African spiritual culture or African teachings or African religion, we always made sure that it was a female and a male counterpart, because without those, we have no life. So let me move forward. It says, Bast is the oldest of the Ennead and the child of Ra himself, which Basset actually turned into Sekhmet, and she is the child of Ra. You can look that up. He says, as early as 10,000 BC, Basset was worshipped as a god/goddess, granted power to worship. The descendants of the children of Bast dwelled in the mountains tops of the city of Basset, ascending as panthers, but becoming human via the magical eye of Bast, which I need to look that up. See what I'm saying? I can learn as I go along. Jim until it's theft. The cat goddess was possibly another aspect of Bast during the Hibernian age. Its idol was found by Conan during the time he was the what you call. So let me start reading this, because what this is this is the fictional part where they probably, and I bet you Conan is going to be a European. This is how they interject themselves off into African history, which predates anything that they've ever did. So let me just get off of the fiction real fast, because I don't want to do that. But before I do that, let me show y'all. Watch this. Conan is white. See that? So they giving Europeans credit for even finding this. But let me get off of this. Let me go and look up. Let me see. The Eye of Bast. It says article Eye of Bast was not found. It's Eye of Bast. So this is not found. So I can just move on from here. But what I do want to do is I want to go into Google, go back into Google, because I want to give y'all the real definition of Basset. Where's my Google at? Okay, now see, I've already been, okay, that's what it's called. We need to get it out of here. Let me just hit for it and click Bast. See what happens. Okay, see, okay, now this is a pretty good example. And this one thing good, and what I like about being able to share my screen, and I hope y'all are being able to see this, is because this shows how I actually study, and this is how you should study. So this is what I went and did. I went and found, I've typed in Bast, and look, and as you can see, I have the black cat right here. She's actually a domesticated cat. She's not actually the representation of an actual. See, this is how she basically looked. But Bast is, I guess they're saying they always saying that the T represents the feminine, and I don't mean they say that the T does represent the feminine. So anytime you see a T on the end of a name in ancient time, you knew that it was a female. But we also have a female and a male counterpart. So let me read this from a dictionary perspective, so that you won't think that I'm reading something that's a cartoon or something that a European made up. Now this is the actual hieroglyph. See, this says hieroglyph. This is what our ancestors wrote it to look like. This is what Basset looks like in hieroglyph when we wrote it. It says hieroglyph. See, hieroglyphs are a type of writing which use symbols or pictures to stand for sounds and words. The Egyptians, Luans, and Maya cultures are among those who use hieroglyphs. They have also been found in Turkey, Crete, United States, and Canada. They are thought to have started, etc. So let me just, okay, so we can get off of that. So you know what a hieroglyph is. But it originated in Kemet, it originated in the Nile Valley. Let's not make any mistakes about that. So let me read this from Wikipedia, and they have this in Oxford if you need to make a reference there. Bast was the ancient Egyptian goddess of protection and cast. She was the daughter of Ra, once again, the sun god. As protectress, she was seen as defender of the pharaoh. After Sekhet, the lioness, which we call Sekhmet, the lioness, and conquerors, consequently, I don't know what that word is, consequently of the chief god Ra. See, and this is Ra. And if I right click this, I have another window so to show you who Ra is. You see, he looks like Heru, except that he can tell us a little bit of difference in them. And I'm not going to go into that. But Bast is also known as Bastet, Ubersti, and Pasha, which probably are Greek terms, which because they took those terms and used them later on. So we probably looked off into that probably. But so she was worshipped at least since the second dynasty in ancient Egypt. So I really should maybe go back to let you know how far that is, because the second dynasty is pretty much the beginning of the Kemetic royal line going down the Nile. You got the first dynasty, and this is the second dynasty. So she's right. She's mentioned early in the dynasties, off in the chronology of the history. Said the century of her coat was in Perbas. Now see, this is the actual place. I'm going to right click that because that's important. And see, they also have Bastestis in Greek. So this is just something that they have, I guess, because Greeks always copied everything that the Africans did, which they said they was the origins of civilization, which they're not. Say, which was named after her. Originally, she was seen as the protector goddess of Lower Egypt, which is really the lowest, which is the center part of Kemet, not the upper part. It says, therefore, her image was a fierce lion. Her name means female devourer. Say, in later times, Bast became the goddess of protection and blessings, and was the protectress of women, children, and domestic cats. She was the goddess of sunrise, music, dance, pleasure, as well as family, fertility, and birth. When Anubis became the god of embalming, Bast, as goddess of ornament, was connected to him as his wife or mother, until Anubis became Nephthys' son. So I guess I don't have to really go too much further into this. But what I want y'all to do is look over here to see this Bastet as a lioness. So when she got mad, she I think before she was a lioness first, and then she got mad, and Tahuti supposedly tricked her and made her drink. She drank something. It was supposed to have been wine, but it was the blood of Ra, something like that, and it turned her into this domesticated cat. But she's worshipped from the earliest of dynasties. But what I want y'all to, what I'm saying is, and see, this is Per Basset. Per Basset is a place where the center of cult of Bast is. Bast is the cat goddess who is protectress of Ra. Per Bast is also described as whatever this is. Per means house, and the second word is Bast or Basset. So Per Bast means house of Bast. Per Bast serves as the capital of the house of whatever that is, Akim, the 18th norm of the Lord of Egypt, which is known as Kemet. So I'm just showing y'all pretty much how you go about studying this, and showing y'all that when they say praise Bast, they are talking about this particular deity. So they have basically used Africa. Let me go to the second dynasty of let me show y'all how far back this goes, so we'll know the time period in which this is taking place here. I don't want this to be extensive, so bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to hurry up and get up out of here. So the second dynasty, okay, this says the second dynasty of ancient Egypt, or dynasty number 2, was was 2890 through 2686 BCE. What they always say BC is the latter of the 2 dynasties of the Egyptian arch period, when the seat of government was centered at the Thenis, save for the time of its last ruler, which I can't pronounce. It marks one of the most obscure periods in ancient Egyptian history. Now watch this. They got something that's showing. You see, this says second dynasty kings of the Ramesside kings list. These are all kings, and they have their names, showing that these are people, actual people. Sinjet. See, these are Neferkar. These are all actual kings that they have documentation of off in the second dynasty. What is this? Abydos kings list. And see, this is just showing you all of the names that they have from the second dynasty kings list. So these are our actual ancestors, and Stan Lee didn't do nothing but take from that to create his story. So I just want y'all to act. Oh, let me go ahead and go through. So okay, I pretty much went through that. This is pretty much all fiction. This is talking about Wakanda, which is pretty much fiction, but all of this takes from that. You know what I'm saying? Look at all of his relatives. Watch this. Nee, his grandmother. Noon, which is his grandfather. Amun Ra, which is his father. See, but y'all don't know who these peoples are. But we'll break that down later. I don't want to break that down now because I'm going to go through the history of the Kemetic history later on. But these are all part of the Nile Valley history right here. Thoth, which is Jehuti, his uncle. Shu, which is his wife is Tefnu. Sebek, which is the crocodile god. See, we say it's crocodile god right there. Sekhmet, which is actually Bastet turned into a lion or lion goddess. Tefnu, Kishun, had brother, Hathor, had Heru. You see what I'm saying? So all of these are actually Geb Nu, which is nephew and niece, Asar, which is they call him Osiris, Seth, their grandnephew. All of these people are relatives or family of this god called Bastet. You know what I'm saying? These are all family, and all of these are within the pantheon of Kemet. See, it says affiliation, gods of Egypt, gods of Wakanda. They're one and the same. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say, family, see, it says God Squad. It says Fantastic Four. These are the affiliations, base of origins, spirit world, Heliopolis. That's in Kemet. And Allah, whatever that is. But I just want y'all to just make sure that we are paying attention. It says occupation, god of pleasure. So it's a fertility god, poetry, dance, cats, and music. War god. So you would call upon this god in times of war. Patron god. God of Wakanda. What they mean by patron god, that's their number one deity. That's the patron, that's the father, mother god of Wakanda. It says, and to Wakandans, the cat god of Egypt. See, that's one and the same. Panther god of Wakanda, protector, ruler of lower Egypt. So what I'm saying is we cannot give him credit for something that just because we don't know the history of it. They learned our history long before when they erased our memory over the 400 years of our enslavement. A person like me or anybody that you would say is woke or have a third eye vision, and you can't be, when you will have a third eye history, when you're woke, you recognize stuff like this. It's like as soon as you see it, you be like, okay, I see where they stole that from. And it's a great benefit to you because you can give this history to your children and it'll help break the curse of religion that we're dealing with. So let me get off of this particular thing. So this is Atum. This is Atum. This is another god. See, this is Marvel. This is all in the pantheon of Black Panther. This is the chief deity of Wakanda. This is the god that Basset pray to. You see what I'm saying? You see they got the European lady standing in front of Heru or in front of Amun Ra. See what I'm saying? But you know, if you know what Amun Ra does, Amun Ra will burn her because she does not have melanin. So it's just really deep, family. I just really want y'all to understand why some of us are really passionate about trying to bring forth the right history to us, because it's a lot of great history that has been stolen. It's a lot of great history that we need to give to our children. I think I've already went through this. Children of Bast. That's okay. I went through this. This is the actual dictionary link to Bast. So I'm just closing everything out. It says Bast's father was Ra. See, if I click on Ra, right click, the god of the sun and all creation. See, so when you say Ra, we're talking about the sun. The sun is the god of all creations, because we know as Africans, we're not silly. We're not going to say that a European is the god, which is, or some, I'll tell y'all about Amun later. But we know that without the sun, there's no life on this planet. So we deified the sun, which is not something that's spooky. It actually makes more sense than to say that we worship the Son of God, which is Jesus Christ, and saying we worship the real sun, which actually brings forth life every morning. Because if that sun don't come up, we know what's going to happen. Now, I actually want to show y'all. So it says, Baset's father was Ra, the god of the sun and all creation. Hathor Sekhmet, the cow-headed god, was the daughter of Ra too. She had two sons named Nefertum, and the god of healing, and Mahas, the lion-headed god of war. Baset did not have a mother because Ra was created. Ra, as creator deity, was called the great he-she. Her husband was Ptah, the god of craftsmen and rebirth and creation. When associated with Isis, which is a set, that's what Africans called her, a set. When you hear Isis, you know that that's Greek. She could be called the soul of Isis. These are mistaken because they are not really related like family. Rather, Sekhmet, Baset, and dozens of goddesses were considered to be an eye of Ra. Baset and Sekhmet were paired, but not as opposite personalities of Baset. They were paired geographically. The main place of Baset's worship was in Lower Egypt, whereas Sekhmet was worshipped in Upper Egypt. They traditionally call Baset a she of the north and Sekhmet a she of the south. Sometimes Baset was also called Lady of the East. Baset's protectress of the East Delta and Lady of the West. And Lady of the West was Sekhmet as protectress of the West Delta. So, I mean, our history is so rich, family. I mean, it's beautiful. And to see, you can see them right here. Look at this. So this is Sekhmet, protector of the East and protector of the West. This is why this is. And you see this is Ra in the middle. They're protecting their father. So, family, I'm going to end this right here. I think I might need to go into one more thing. This is Ra. You know, I'm not going to go into Ra. I'll have plenty of time to go into all of this, because I'll be doing this a lot more frequently now that I'm able to actually share how I study and the way that you can learn from me showing this. But this is the need. I'm going to show this real quick. This is the need, and these are the pantheon of gods, which is Black Panther is considered a god once he takes the serum. But look at this. Watch this. This is Black Panther right here. If you can see this, this is I know their names, and some people will say that we don't know their names, but this is Sebek, and he's a god. I think this must be second. This is but notice, and I'll be sure. I want y'all to be perfectly clear that this is a Marvel Comics rendition, and you will notice that they Europeanize all of the deities. But anyway, this is Jehuti right here. This is probably Sekhmet in a male form. I think this is Amun Ra. This is Aset or Isis, and this might be Asar. I know this is Jehuti. I'm not sure who this is. I think this is Amun Ra here to the right, and I think this is Asar. Not sure who this mummy guy is, and I know the little short guy there here is Beset, which represents the Twa, which are African people. So this is what I'm saying. This is the basis of Black Panther. This is where Stan Lee drew his inspiration from to create Black Panther, which is actually ancient African history that predates European even coming into contact. When these pyramids that you see in the back there, Europeans hadn't even came into Africa yet when they were completed. So what I'm saying is, you can go and look this up. It said the need are excrements, whatever this is, humanoids being worshipped by the ancient Egyptians. They lived in Heliopolis, which is an actual place, a small pocket dimension of adjacent to Earth. These, like this, maybe it's not an actual place, but I think this might be something where Europeans interjected. It says, but I know they got a place called something. I'll look that up one day and I'll show y'all what I was talking about, because it's something named similar to this on the Nile, and might be that particular name, but I just don't want to be incorrect and have to be corrected. But it says these begin help deform the Egyptian civilization origins. The gods of I think it is an actual place, and I think they're just actually mixing up a little history with fiction. Heliopolis comes into existence over several generations, even as the Olympian gods derived from the older generations of Titans. Before there were any other gods, there was none. So they're telling the truth. Before any other gods, there was Noon, which the primordial waters came up, so what, and so forth and so on. I would have to break down a whole historical context, but this is just about Black Panther. But I'm just trying to show y'all the origins of Black Panther comes from actual African history that we had. The last little breakdown I'm going to do is on the heart-shaped flower that Black Panther took. I want y'all to look at this. This is the actual one that they actually decided to go with. You see, it says heart-shaped herb here. Now, the color of this herb is significant to dealing with the actual Nile Valley history, because it's actually, I know it's purple, but this is actually an Egyptian blue. Okay? And I want y'all to understand it. I'm going to break down the significance of this Egyptian blue here in a second here. But the heart-shaped herb is, these are just the actual, a couple of, this is the actual one that they decided to go with, and then I'm going to show you the sketches. This is volume 1, what they said, the heart-shaped herb plant. This is how they were the drawings, how, you do a sketch and you want to make it see how y'all want to make the plant actually look. But they're showing you as they was going through the process. Here's volume 2, what they thought about doing. Kind of looked like a what do they call it? A pineapple with the herb coming out of the heart-shaped herb coming out of there. Here is shape number 4. I passed over 3. Oh, they skipped over 3. But they saying this is 4. Kind of looks like what they call that little plant that the Venus flytrap at the top here. So these are just the little sketches that they went to. But as again, they did go with this one. Okay, then here's sketch 3 right here. So they had them out of chronological order. But okay, now here's the flower. Now this, I want y'all to pay close attention to this, because this looks similar to this. And I hope, and I'm not sure that every time I flip my screen here that y'all are able to see this. But this is actually the blue star water lily. This is one. Let me get off of this one because I don't like that particular. I didn't like that. Now this is the lotus symbol. This is actually excuse me. This is actually their variation of a lotus flower, and we know what a lotus flower looks like. So this and you and how I know what that it's a lotus flower because they've stolen everything else that has to do with Kemet and borrowed everything to make this particular story possible. So of course they would use the lotus flower because it's a representation of Kemet. And I'm going to break down why they did the ritual the way that they did it. Okay. So here's another flower. This is flower one, flower two. Still a kind of like a rendition of a lotus flower. Flower number three, another rendition. Flower number four, and I guess I don't know what this is. I guess this might have been what they. But see, just look at that. Now I want y'all to pay attention. You know, they had a bunch of different renditions, but you notice they kept sticking with the purple. You see what I'm saying? They stuck with that purple. So I can close this out because I want to show that. Okay, now it says heart-shaped herb, and I'm going to close this out after this. It says the heart-shaped herb is a plant that only grows in the nation of Wakanda, which this is fiction. It is legend as it was said to have been a gift from the Panther god, the local deity they worship. But in reality, the plant had been mutated by a giant meteorite of vibranium crashed into the earth. It became It became to become the Black Panther, the chieftain of Wakanda. A warrior must defeat the carrying Black Panther and fight 6 of the Wakandan greatest warriors all at once. So that's necessarily doesn't have anything to do with what I was talking about. But let me just go on and break this down, and then I'll be through with this. Okay, so this is for kids. Now Europeans, their kids probably come over here all the time and look at and they teach their kids about Nile Valley history because at one point for 300 years, Europeans during the Ptolemaic period, when the Ptolemies ruled for 300 years, which is the fall of Kemet. When we fell, from that point on, we never did regain power. But for 300 years, Europeans at the end, once they came in, they ruled, they took over, and that was it for us. We had nothing else to do with Kemet. So when you see European depictions somewhere in Kemet, yes, they were in Kemet at one point, but that still does not negate the 10,000 years that I would generously give us of rule without any European or Persian influence. So let me go ahead and break this water lily down, which is the Egyptian lotus flower, and I also need to do the Egyptian lotus flower from a different dictionary standpoint, so y'all would know. See, look at this. Okay, I'll do images. See, now notice I do a couple of images because they're purple, and then I'm going to do. I want to read. I want to read from one of these dictionary references if I can find one. Okay, well, I guess they're going to continue using that. So I guess this is the only one I'm going to be able to use. So now, excuse me if I butchered the name on this, but the Neophi Carelia, known primarily as the blue lotus or the Egyptian blue lotus, but also blue water lily or blue Egyptian water lily, and sacred blue lily is a water lily in the genus Naphia, and the genus Naphia. Like other species in this genus, the plant and the genus, the plant contains the phenoactive alkaloid feminine or whatever this is, a femina, not to be confused with whatever that word is. It was known to the ancient Egyptian civilization. Description: its original habitat may have been along the Nile, which is the Nile is in Kemet, and other parts of East Africa. It spread more widely in it spread more widely in ancient times, including to the Indian subcontinent in Thailand. Description: the leaves are broadly rounded. See, I don't necessarily need to go into that, but it says religion and art. Along with the white lily, which is shown here, are all also native to which are also native to Egypt, which is known as Kemet. The plant and flower are very frequently depicted in Egyptian art. They have been depicted in numerous stone carvings and paintings, including the walls of famous temples of Karnak, and are frequently depicted in connection with the party scenes, um, dancing, or in significant spiritual or magical rites, such as the rites of passage into the afterlife. Cornelia was considered extremely significant in Egyptian mythology, regarded as a symbol of the sun. This since the flowers are closed at night and open again in the morning. At Heliopolis, which is actually, like I said, a real place. Let me read that. Heliopolis was a major city of the ancient Egyptians. It was the capital of the 18th, of the 13th, or the Heliopolite norm of the Lower Egyptians, and the major religious center. It is now located in Ain Sham, which is probably something that the conquering Arabs named it. A northeastern suburb of Cairo, which that's where the Arabs are. So just like I said, the Arabs have renamed it what they wanted to name it since they conquered the land. Okay, so at Heliopolis, the origins of the world was thought to have been when the sun god Ra emerged from a lotus flower growing in phenomenal water in the primordial waters. At night, he was believed to retreat into the flower again. Due to its color, it was identified in some beliefs as having been the original, excuse me, I got lost on the line, container in a similar manner to an egg of Atum. And in similar belief, Ra, both solar deities as such. Proportion forms the origins of the lotus variant of the I don't know what that is. Ogdud Cosmology. Let me see. I don't even know what this is, so I need to look. This is in the Egyptian mythology. The Ogdud were 8 primordial deities worshipped in Heliopolis. Oh, okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, so as y'all can see, I learned, and as y'all can see, I still learn too. And I want to say this is something about cosmology, or this must be something to cosmology is a model concerning the origin. See, so it's kind of like cosmology, chronological order or something. Excuse me, I had to build. It says the concern the origins of either the cosmos or universe, developing a complete theoretical model has implications in both the philology of science and the epistemology or whatever. So I'm not good with all of these words, but I got a pretty good understanding of what's going on with this history and what they have done to try to usurp us historically. So here's the stele. You'll see, maybe if I blow it up a little bit, you'll see that they're sniffing on the lotus flower here. Right here, the first person is sniffing the lotus flower. They also use that in a lot of the building structures, structure with the lotus flower flowering out at the top of the pillars. So it's a lot of significance that's going on. But okay, so I just wanted to break that down. Okay, here's the lotus flower right here. This is the color of it. And then I actually see, if you look at the background of this, you see when they had him drinking when he did the ceremony, you notice how it kind of looked similar. That garden that they had looked similar to this. So all of this type of stuff is stuff that when you have a third eye awakening, when your third eye is actually awoken, you see stuff like this. And you know, you can point this out to your children. And it's very interesting. Okay, so I mean, this is just pretty much the same thing, but it's broken down for children. When they're showing actual, see, here's the actual imagery. This might have been a better thing because it's kind of breaking it down from an elementary standpoint. I don't know at this point. I think it's pretty much overkill, but I like to show imagery. So here's the looks like the Nasut with a king offering the lotus flower to Tahuti. He's sitting on the throne for whatever reason, which he's a real god. So I guess he usurped the actual king. So, and then behind him, you see Hathor, Hede Root. But notice they have her as a European. So, okay, here again is Asar. He's sitting in front of the lotus flower here. Says facts about the lotus flower. I don't know if y'all can read some of this. The lotus symbol was closely related to funeral imagery and the coat of Osiris, which is Asar. The four sons of Horus, or Heru, were frequently shown standing on the lotus in front of Osiris. Yeah, I remember seeing it. I can show y'all that, but like I said, I'm not going to go too deep in this. I think I've done a pretty good job of giving y'all an understanding. Y'all, like I said, I will try to go back through, and I think I might have messed up by closing out those tabs, but I can always go back through the history of my tab. Open it up. I'm going to put the links in the description so y'all can study this. I'll leave all these links out here. The pillars that I was talking about that they erected and put on the top of the temples, you'll see all of those are representations of lotus flowers. You know, some of them have Hede Root, like right here, you'll see Hede Root, but you'll still see the lotus flowers mixed in. Some of them have the papyrus, pictures of the papyrus reed. You see what I'm saying? And then this is a picture of the lotus flower. But these represents the two lands. They represent, very important, and you notice they always tie in Ra or the sun god into everything. So like you'll see again, Europeans, she got the lotus flower present. Here again, you see the lotus flower in front of Sebek, facing towards, I think that's Amun Ra. And it looks like that's Amun Ra, Sebek, Tahuti, Asar, and then we got Ma'at in the back as the protector, the first angel of antiquity. That she represents the first angel in recorded history. That's why you see her with the wings back there. And a matter of fact, excuse me, that's not Ma'at. That's actually a set, and you can tell by the throne on top of her head. But they're closely related. Her and Ma'at are closely related. So excuse me. And then this is some kind of pantheon. Probably looks like something that they've done in Greek association with the gods of Kemet. Because see, I see the god Apollo. So that's letting you know that that's Greek. And you can see they got the little European with the small penis over here shooting their bow at the serpent. So I'm gonna close this out, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too long. I may break this down into periods once I edit it, but I'm going to start trying to do stuff like this to try to help our people gain an understanding, like I have an understanding without ego. A lot of our brothers have kind of strayed away from actually doing what it's really about, because the person that found the history first does not own the history. I made that post on Facebook today. It's all about history. It's not to be you know, kept as a secret. That's what the European has done. This is for us to share with our people, so that we can wake up and get all on the same page from a global perspective. We don't know how long this European is going to let the internet be accessible to us globally. So time is of the essence, family. So I'm gonna close out with a video of the brother King Lee's video. Um, Alone. And I appreciate him and the brother Peach, YG Preach from Seattle, Washington, for even considering us or considering the brand. So y'all check this out. And I know I didn't mention much about the brand, but like I said, I'm gonna start doing these style videos where I won't have to be too much present. Y'all can hear me narrating as opposed to being in front of the camera. And yeah, man, I like this style, and I think the technology is finally caught up to where I'll be able to get on here and do my thing the way I like to do it. So let me show this King Lee's, and then I'm gonna close this out. What happened?
Yeah. Tired of hearing your problems, what's the solution? Spending all my time massaging your feelings, bring them a solution. You can only give them the knowledge and hope they use it. You can guarantee that they partners ready to shoot shit. Homie, we divided. You ain't noticed to see the signs, nigga, we decided. When I meet you, meet your demise. It's been that way for years, so how you plan to reach me? Just a product of these lies, so how you plan to teach the people watching? Hoping you choose the only choices they giving so they can send you somewhere far enough away from your children, living life in paranoia. Like the paranoia, record labels with shitty deals, like your appointed lawyer, question what they wanted for you. It ain't rocket science, watch them when you not compliant. Baby mama not replying, not relying. When you up, relationships are blossom like some tulips. When you down, you get the hand emoji holding two up. Peace. Amongst my affiliates, feeling so alone. On the level niggas don't even know I'm on. The pressures of a leader, the blessings of a king. On the level niggas don't even know I'm on. They say prepare for martial law. Compared to our struggles, it wouldn't be considered harsh at all. I'm marching on. We already illegally carry a decent arsenal. Niggas try to warn you. Many failed attempts to sharpen your minds. Today we all ears in light of these recent events. United we fear, divided we cease to exist. He might have appeared resistant. I tweet you this shit. It's like it's gotta keep occurring to keep you convinced that we behind enemy lines, my killer. And if you do the crime, then you gon' lose your life, my killer. And if you try to climb, then you gon' get the climb, my killer. Only so much of your kind at a time, my killer. If you don't get it now, you'll never get it. Bring the 808s in and I'll continue making music with no message in it. You just wanna dance, don't you? Keep you entertained as a distraction to the evil plot. Let me see your hands, nigga. Amongst my affiliates, feeling so alone. On the level niggas don't even know I'm on. The pressures of a leader, the blessings of a king. On the level niggas don't even know I'm on.
Yeah, King Lee's, y'all. Check him out. Guess I can stop sharing my screen. I'm finna close this out. So I hope y'all enjoyed it, family. Like I said, before I close out, I gotta do a quick plug. Y'all support Pan African Design. I got the Heru, the forest green Heru collar shirt on today. Y'all can see we got flags, we got women's shirts, we got snapbacks. I mean, so I don't want to go too long on here. So let me go ahead and end this. Peace and Black Power.